Well, good evening, everybody, and I'm glad you've joined us today for Old Gray Bricks Live. Just remember, this is a drama-free zone, even though we're going to be talking about a drama kind of subject tonight about renders and mocks and all that kind of stuff. Welcome my panel so far. We got some more that'll be joining us. We've got Mark, we've got Dana, we've got Gil, we've got Ryan, we've got Matthew, we've got Mayor. So just about all of us are local except for the one Floridian and the one Canadian and everything. So glad you guys are here. How are you guys doing this evening?
Good.
Just to warn our viewers, I have learned. Oh, here comes another guest. As long as he's getting in there, I had to stream Pete Morris, who is now walking away from the stream live on the internet. I've discovered a new editorial power, and I'm just sorry for it, where I can just pop random videos on the screen at my discretion. And if you get particularly early, I will just smack you out with the logo there. So just be forewarned, I have new powers. So let's see who's in the chat. We've got Brom. Brom is already commenting, rendering his mocks since 1996. So anyway, Pete, how you doing this evening? Let's start with you. Tell us what is going on in your Lego world, buddy. Hello.
I'm pretty good. Not much. Just rebuilding a lot of my old Starfighter catalog. It's taken me a while. Trying to get a hangar going. That's taken a while. It's a pain in the butt buying all these Lego off the internets. How do you use one?
Maybe you should just render it then. You got something?
Yeah, but then I can't take it
real quick. By the way, if you haven't met Pete, Pete is a great space builder of old and of new. And he does really awesome spaceships. You got one to hold up for the camera for our viewers?
This is... So I posted this on my Flickr a while back, and this is the best of it. So it's a space fighter. It is really hard to do this with the camera being backwards.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yeah, that's right.
I keep wanting to move it this way, and it moves that way.
It's extremely counterintuitive.
It's like you want to go into the settings and reverse the joystick.
That's right.
Yeah, is that a thing we can do?
That's probably your in-house camera, not here. So
that's a StreamYard thing.
Yeah. What? Okay.
You don't know how to work my HP
I get
computer?
old man mad about
premium
anybody
feature.
taking selfies and then the words on their T-shirt are backwards. I'm like, that's not hard to fix, but
That's an Android thing.
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, Pete. By the way, Pete is new. Some of you in the chat don't know Pete. Pete is very cool. He's becoming undressed at the moment, but anyway, Pete is an old-time builder. Pete, you live in North Carolina now.
I was just seeing if the words were backwards or forwards.
They're right. We're all good
I do.
today.
Right in the bent part.
Of North Carolina, that's right. So, but anyway, I'm trying to talk Pete into coming to Brick Fair, Alabama again. So, welcome into the chat. Brom is in the chat. Seth Bland is in the chat. And Ben's Brick Designs also in the chat. Welcome there and everything. All right, so good to have you here, Pete. Let's go to Matt. Matthew, what have you got going on? Give us an update on how you guys are feeling too, by the way, how your health is doing.
So, we at our house, I thought my spouse had COVID. He had an elevated temperature for a week, 10 days. So we went and got a test, and it took about 5 days. Actually, was faster turnaround than some other people I know, and the test results came back negative. So
Good.
Not COVID, but we're now on 17 days of him running the temperature. So
Jeez.
I saw a doctor, and the doctor is hypothesis is that it's infection. So the doctor took more blood than a vampire at a feeding. So he's going to run a whole bunch of tests, and we'll see if any of these things come back. I mean, it's not severe, but the fact that he's had a 100 to 101 degree temperature for 17 days is kind of concerning. So,
Y'all.
So it meant more Lego time. We were supposed to go on a trip out west to see family and see some sights, and we canceled that. So I've been doing a lot of Legoing the last couple of weeks because we were not on the road. On my calendar, it said leave to drive back to Atlanta today. So obviously, I'm right here in my Lego room, not in Denver.
There's nothing a little more depressing than all of a sudden you get that notification that you should be ending your vacation that you never went on, right?
Yeah. It was kind of hard for the first couple of days, not going out and seeing family, and honestly, I really wanted to get out of the house. We've been on a pretty stay-at-home basis since March. I'll go out and get carry out, and I love Lego. I really wanted to see some big open spaces out west and do some travel, and I had even mapped out a route where we wouldn't be around a ton of people. We were going to go through some back roads in Kansas and go off the beaten path. But anyway, so we're here in Atlanta. I've been working on this massive cathedral.
Let's see it.
It's downstairs.
Oh, that's right.
It's so massive, I set it up on a big table behind the couch so I can watch movies and work on it at the same time. So
Gotcha.
it's downstairs. I got to this one step where I had to build 60 the tops of the capitals of the columns, and I got all of the capitals done. And then I realized that I had made a mistake, and I made 226 mistakes because you had to put. It required you to put bows on the side, and I had put 1x1 flat tiles, so I had to go back and remove 226 parts and replace them with a different part. So that was fun. But that's coming along. I've gotten a tremendous than just because we're home and watching movies and things like that. I also bought one of those hidden side sets. I've been building a hidden side shrimp shack that I picked up on clearance, and that's about half done. I'm not finished with that. So that's what's going on at our house.
Sweet. That's awesome. All right. Well, I'm hoping you guys get diagnosis soon and everything. All right. We dropped our Canadian. He was swapping out a cable. He should be back. And with Ryan walking away, let's go to Mr. Sandlin. What is going on in your world today?
Nothing. No, I kind of did my whole space thing last week with my space mecha and my I suppose actually I talked about this on Bricksmith's show, but not your show.
That's right. Let's let it fly, man.
I was working on this last week during Chris's show, and I was frantically building and stuff, and so there it is. It is on my Instagram, so you guys can just find Fleebnork on Instagram, and there he is. He's got his giant laser guns and things, and he also has some science equipment that is over here that Dr. Brahm insisted that I do some science. So if he wants to do a little science, he's got that. He can do a little scientific
nice
stuff. So, and so there's him. He's got he does have an opening hatch, so there's the little pilot in there. Pilot can slide out of there. One of the new spacey dudes with the space torso. That's
Space.
Lovely.
Space.
He's pretty comfy in there. Put him in there, close the lid. Ready to bring peace to the galaxy.
Peace by force.
Peace.
I finished that. You guys have already seen the bigger spaceship. That's still sitting behind me over there, and that's about it. I have done a couple of little live streams of my own on the side. I did one with Paul last night, and he talked about some of his little things that he's made, and he wants to do more, so there might be another couple popping up in the next couple of days here, because he said he wanted to do one where he talks about hidden side, so that should be fascinating.
That's right. We need to tune Lego in to say, please save the hidden side. I'm actually personally upset they're canceling it. I think they shot themselves in the foot on it.
Where's Kevin Hinkle when you need him?
Yeah.
There's been updated information that they may not be canceling it. That may have been premature news, even though I subscribe to that premature news, I have heard that no, it might not be the end yet.
Oh.
So it was set out as a whatever they call it, the
3-year things or
Yeah.
whatever.
3-year thing that Ninjago blew out of the water. Theoretically, there is no confirmation that it is being canceled yet.
Good.
So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, the thing I was worried about is they were going to pull it before. Oh, we got some folks in the green room. They were going to pull it before, the third thing got to us. The third line.
wave, like, yeah.
Oh, welcome to another Canadian. We needed another. Nathan Proudlove, welcome to the chats. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing okay.
What is that hat?
I don't know. My kid gave it to me. No idea.
I thought you were Canadian.
Isn't soccer football in Canada?
No. It's we have football as well, but we have bigger balls. So
Is that the Brampton Battalion hat again?
Patriots, something or other. I don't follow. So
Awesome. Well, since you popped in, I'll just go ahead and ask you what is up in your nerd world today, this week, this month, whatever. It's been a while since you joined us.
yeah, it's been a while. I've been my kid's off at track, and my wife teaches in the evenings, so I've been having to take him to track in the evenings. But her schedule shifted a bit, so I have been sorting and putting together all of my kids' old sets so that I can put them away for him when he inevitably decides he wants to be nostalgic and sort of go through them again. I'm not allowed to keep those pieces, so I know. So, and then I've been
You set up the wrong arrangement with your kid.
it's fine. It's fine. Most of them were gifts from family, so it's fair, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And I've got a little thing I've been working on, just sort of a doodle that I've been little quad tank tread walker thing, but I only have the base kind of built right now.
Is it going to be called the Red Bull or something?
It's sort of inspired. It's sort of inspired by the Warhammer 40K Imperium look with the wings on the treads and stuff. So
Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
That's me.
Awesome. All right. I love to see that all about America on your hat, by the way. The other Canadian still hasn't reconnected, but I'll keep a lookout for him. All right. So, Meredith, what you got going on? What's up in your household this week?
Not much. I was off with my daughter again, called the in-between nanny phases, because we had to find a nanny for fall, and luckily we found somebody, but missed a few days. So my child decided to take every animal that we have in Lego form and try to make it into a zoo, which is now occupying most of the table. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we now have a large zoo. She was also inspired by Jane. And then also Matthew's llama order. Now I had to go bricklink a whole bunch of llamas.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to get the purple because they didn't have the purple ones either.
From the Prince of Persia sets.
Pieces, so I had to get them in all colors. So it was an expensive day on bricklink, and
You're welcome.
we still got the ship going. We're getting almost there, at least to the.
I love how you progressively have to grunt a little harder to pick that thing
Yeah,
up.
it's getting heavy. But
Holy cow!
I like
That is amazing.
I like the blue to white transition, the purple to white transition on the side there.
Yeah.
yeah, we're getting there. It's gonna get too big to swoosh anymore soon, even though it's not that kind of ship. But we're getting there. It's all modular. It's all popping off, so you can play because that's what it's supposed to be for.
That's right. I'm impressed. Oh, let's add to the stream. A long-time Lego fan, Jesse Allan Long. No, wait, it's Captain Canuck. Hey, Jesse Allan Long's an old name from those of us back in the day, so I find it rather humorous. But while you're here, Captain Canuck, tell us what is going on nerd-wise in your world.
All right. Well, after a random moose attack, I got my other laptop going here. So one thing that I've been to show a couple weeks, but I finally dug it out and recovered it somewhat from a big old smash. It's a Space Police 2 sort of remake. Oh, I can hold it up.
Ooh.
So like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
So it's like Dana was saying before, like a couple of weeks back, he spending like, kind of giving up some gold fillings and potentially an organ or so for those trans clear panels in red.
Yep.
I'm not doing that. So those are just like sort of just 2x2 slopes with like some 2x2 reds. So to sort of go with that. And then this thing is like the little base. So it will be sort of clipping in the back. So you take this and you jam it in the hole in the back. In the hole. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
But now the question is, will the Blacktron guys be
I was gonna say.
phobic, or will they have like room to move around in there? Because Space Police prison cells have notoriously been confined.
I'm glad you
there a
asked that,
toilet?
Dana.
Is there a vacuum?
So that's the upgraded cell there.
Oh wait.
So that's
Little
the
prison
upgraded
cell.
cell. So there's 2 that fits in the side, and rest
Nice.
assured, there's even less space.
Even less space, so
So,
they are even more confined.
Even less.
Wait, you have him facing
Yes.
down?
Suckers.
Well, things go on. Certain favors are exchanged.
Oh,
What are you talking about? I'm talking about, you do my laundry, I do yours. Chris, come on.
They are prisoners after all.
That's
are.
right. That's right.
they are.
Those
So, yeah,
electrons get all
that's
the way
sort of my
from
only.
Canada.
In space, no one can hear you scream, right? Anyway.
But boom.
Yeah.
That's what the
We're
movie
working on the
says.
sound
I don't know what it
effects,
means. All right.
It's like-
Ryan, I don't believe we've gotten to you yet. Ryan, what is going on in your new Lego spot you are establishing in New York? How's it going, man?
Yeah, a lot of unpacking. Unpacking to the point where we can finally start focusing on the less essential things in our lives and hanging pictures and sorting Lego and working on all this madness around me.
Gorgeous.
So not building anything just this moment,
lot
but
of Lego.
lots of unpacking. I did find some artwork that's been packed away for a little while. A friend of mine
Oh, nice.
did this piece out of like yarn and stuff, and I've had it's been hiding for a little while, but I gotta find a place to put it somewhere in here.
That's awesome.
How did
Yeah,
everything?
there's a
survive
huge
through?
trade-off for the desire for posters and the desire for Lego storage in a Lego room.
Did you say
Yeah,
yarn?
that's a problem we've got. Yeah, yarn. It's see how close of a shot I can get.
I think you should hang it from the rearview
Oh,
mirror
wow.
of your car.
Oh,
Oh,
cow.
wow.
I
Nice.
thought that was painted. Wow.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it was
amazing.
human hair.
That is neat.
That is wild.
Great.
That's amazing.
It's pretty special.
Hey, can I share a piece of art real quick that's kind of cool like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my sister makes stained glass things, and she made this.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, she made a series of 3 for me. It was one of the coolest things ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
We should maybe have a Lego art show one day.
that'd be cool.
That would be
We're
awesome.
good.
And we could put all the virtual
JD.
digital renders in it.
Yeah,
Easy. Don't- Spoilers.
All right. Oh, let's go back to Ryan, though. What else is up in your world, man?
Mostly unpacking. I go back to work at Legoland New York next week. See what progress has been made on the site, and start working on installing some of those Lego models that you guys will hopefully get to see next year.
Cool. That's cool. Hey, let me ask you, the shelves that you got in the back, where
Yeah.
did you got them, and they're snug up to those drawers, the Steerlight drawers. What brand of shelves are those? Because those are really cool.
So most of them are closet made. Every now and then a competing company will make the same product, but it's almost predominantly closet made. And then these are all Sterilite containers. They're model number 1791. I found out pretty much by happy accident in like 2005 or 6 that they fit together like pretty perfectly, except for these bottom ones because they're made to stand on the ground. So we've been working on collecting, as my collection has grown organically, we add a few more every now and then. And right now I'm having a really hard time finding more of these shelves for relatively cheap nearby.
Understood. I've always liked those because I was seeing that because I have a lot of randomness going on with my shelves and everything, and what you have tidies that up really nice, and I like that. So
yeah, that's probably one of the only reasons my wife allows as much as she does is because for the most part it looks really nice when it's actually clean. So that helps.
All right, let's welcome to the chat over here. Looking at Richard Seamus has joined us. Richard, I got your email. I forgot to put you in the mail. I'll do it next time. Magnus, the man with the coolest name on the planet. Magnus is here.
Magnus.
Murtaugh Bricks is here. Haley Bricks and Brainiac. Brickinac or whatever is here. So glad you guys have joined us also in the chat. Glad you're here and everything. Let's see. Have I been to everybody except? Well, I'll talk about me. Can I talk about me for a second?
Talk about you.
So I did a challenge for myself, taking only the parts from one set and rebuilding a mock, because that's used to be what Lego used to be about. Welcome my son. I hear him stomping around upstairs. So he is on his phone walking upstairs and everything. So hello, son. How are you? Anyway, all right. So I took all the pieces from the hidden side bus and only the pieces from the hidden side bus. And so I made an Ecto Bounty Hunter. So here it is right here.
Space.
Nice.
Space.
Yep. Also, kind of the concept is it's kind of a
that.
transport that whoever got it then modified it and added some outboard weapons and things like that. So I did actually do an interior as well. I just dropped the lid on the floor. So it's got a couple of stations there. It does have a working door in the back. So anyway, there it is. Some space action. It's kind of was a neat challenge to be limited by the parts ahead of from the parts that I had available. So that was kind of cool. So that's what's been going on in my world and everything. All right. So I think it's about time for Dana and his old gray space of the week. So Dana, let me throw it to you. And what has been going on in your Lego world?
So first and foremost, and as some of you may have noticed on Chris's shirt, if you could see a little bit, I'm gonna pimp this out. You can see that little LL 1978. This is there we go. That is nice. a Mr. Mark Sandlin, the Fleebnork illustrator. Put that up last week along with some other stuff, and I had to go ahead and buy one. And it has already now become one of my new favorite shirts. Has been thrown in the rotation. So don't be surprised you see me wearing this from week to week on Thursdays. So if you want to find your own, I think you can look at Mark can give details, or we can put it in the comments to be able to get your own. I think if you go to TeePublic and look up Fleebnork or Mark Sandlin, I think you'll find them. Mark, you can confirm that one way or the other.
Yeah, it's Fleebnork on TeePublic.
I'm at TeePublic, so that's first thing. Second thing is if you follow me on Instagram at Troubles Brewing, this week or Friday I started, or Friday or I think it was Friday or Saturday, whatever the first was. I started doing a kind of an extension of the Old Gray Brick of the Week. I'm doing the here is your daily dose of Lego Space, and I'm actually started with the first 4 sets from 1978, and I'm going to keep going through until I get probably about to Spirius. So it should last me about 6 months of doing 1 set per day. So if you'd like to get a little daily dose of your Lego Space, go ahead and look me up on Instagram at Troubles Brewing. And then, if you recall, last week I threw up a small digital rendering of a rover I was working on. So I did do a little work on that. So this is actually version 2.
Whoops! Oh, you mean
that was version 1? Yeah, the legs, while they looked really great in render, they did not do well when gravity took hold, and
Looks
yeah,
great. Looks great.
it just became a sad mess.
So who stepped on it? That's what I want to know.
What was that?
Who stepped on it?
It was one of the cats. I'm just going to say that. But that being said, version 2 is faring a little better. He's just not going to let me get past that.
Looks like wet spaghetti. Yeah.
So, version 2 is doing a little better. It's got some articulation. The headpiece moves up and down. I'm very happy with the cockpit on this. If this doesn't do any better than what it's done, it may get swapped out, and I'll steal just the cockpit for something else. And then I did do a nice little retro cargo container, kind of like Mark's. I even put some little spacey containers inside there to show that it's being transported. So that's about all I got going on. And then I also made some dually wheels that I can swap out the wheels on this thing. But the articulation, and I don't know if you guys experienced this, especially if you're mech builders, the click hinge universal joints, not the ball and socket, but the ones that have the clicker hinge and rotate, they're just not real strong. Even the ball and joints for those larger mech pieces, they're not real strong. So if you're trying to do something that's not an arm, but like something bigger that has some size and weight to it, it's just not a viable solution. So I might play with it a little more. Again, thanks, Tris. Thanks. I might play more with the design just to see if I can get something a little more sturdy to hinge things with. Other than that, I think I might want to throw it in the scrap bin and save the container and the cockpit and move them onto something else. So, but that brings us to the end of my portion, and we'll go ahead and move to the old gray brick set of the week. So, Chris, if you want to switch screens for me.
All right, there you go.
Sorry.
Oh, wait, I have to say this.
That's a dead
He has too much power.
He does. He has way too much power.
You need to put all aboard
Drum
the fail rover on that one.
All righty. So, that being said, that brings us to the old gray brick set of the week. And this week's set is 69 uranium search vehicle.
Suspense is killing me.
How appropriate.
Yes. And I will say that yes, the color design a little bit in the canopy on this is where I was
Oh, I didn't have that one.
This is actually one of my sets from when I was a kid in the picture. Original figures,
Great job.
everything. I built this set so many times over and over again. This is definitely one that I can build with my eyes closed. I just loved this set as a kid so much. But let's talk about some of the details on this bad boy. Plastic Space 1984. A whole 199 whopping pieces. And it came with 2 minifigures, one white spaceman and one elusive black spaceman. Gotta love those. Used price right now will run you anywhere from about $50 to $65 on Bricklink, depending on where you're getting it from. Some prices go a little higher, some a little lower, especially if you're having to include shipping on that one. Now, this new in-box price of $1,038.89 is crazy Lego money. Now, that, I should say, is not an actual sale, but that is the only new in-box that's available for sale that is listed. There has been no new in-box listed for over 6 months. So I don't see us. Wow. I don't see them getting the $1,000 for that thing, but thanks for playing. Again, crazy Lego money. So why is it cool? I have to say the first thing about that set that just pops out at you is it's got 16 of those little tires connected by the axle rods and through some Technic bricks. That wasn't very common in a lot of sets, but it was so great to have in that set. The trans yellow galore. I mean, you got the canopy, the 1x4 brick, the 1x2 bricks, the hinged plate that's on the top and the back. Just so much trans yellow. And then the elusive trans red round shields, which are, again, not a very common part. A little more common than the trans clear ones, mind you, but still not a very common part were those trans red shields. And articulation, having that hinge in the middle, and then your rocker wheels going up and down. So much childhood fun to play with that. And so many space parts in this set. I mean, all the accessories. You had your walkie-talkie. You had a blaster. You have a wrench. You've got a metal detector. You've got gray rods. You've got gray metal detectors, dishes, little rocket ends. There is just so many great good pieces on this set. Would definitely have been one I would have rather had multiples of just to have all those extra parts. So one more shot of the original there that I have, and then also just get a little back shot here of the Black Spaceman in the back with the whole canopy opened up and flipped open.
Such a good set.
And they had the ladder for him to get in. That was important.
Those ladder pieces. I mean, that.
So compliant.
Yeah, it's just it's not compliant. Yeah, he can't accessible for handicap servicemen in the back there. But
True.
Again, those little ladders, they just scream space to me. They may have came in space police sets or pirate sets or anything else. No, I'm sorry. Those are space parts through and through. And go ahead, Chris. You can switch me back to my other, and I'll.
You mean this one?
That just never gets old.
No, that one's going to be a running joke. My Indian name is going to be Little Running Joke or Little Running Rover or something like that.
Maybe a little old.
But so again, here it is. Just loving this whole articulation portion in the middle here, and using these modified plates as little connectors to pivot on and block it from moving too much. And then, of course, the wheels being able to move up and down as you're going over territory. Just so many, some printed parts. You saw that computer screen in there. And then, of course, it's got one of the elusive red trans antennas on the top there. Just a great all-around set. Even some printed, blue 1x2 bricks with the line in the middle, or with the lines. I don't know if you can see it pretty well there. I blew a light bulb in my office here, so it's a little dimmer than lately, but
You use some professional lighting.
I do. We know a guy, I think. Uranium attracts Fleebnorks. I love that comment. I think that's great. And then, so I'm wondering if Lego ever did another space theme, if we could ever see something as fun and exciting as these. I don't think we'll ever get to, unfortunately. So, but that is your Old Gray Space set of the week, or Old Gray Brick set of the week. And Chris, back to you.
I got mine right here.
That's yours. Got yours there.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I love this set. I never had it as a kid. I got it. Actually, I got this about 4 or 5 months ago in a lot, and I play Fleebnork. I got it I think I paid like $30 for this and another classic space set. The lady had it, didn't know what it was worth, and she had it. It was not an auction. It was on Facebook. That's what you're selling for. And I did have some brick swaps. The only thing I don't like about it kind of looked like it's blown all of its tires and riding on donuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for all its superior qualities, there is. It could have been the first classic space that actually cared about all the air and the deadly space air. But there's a gap between the stinking canopy and this slope right here. Everything else is airtight, and I'm like, come on. Anyway.
Well, actually, if you turn the front section around a little bit on the front side, you'll also see there's a little air hole that's down here as well.
So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's why you got to always leave your oxygen tank on in classic space.
Very true. Very true.
Or set it on the inflatable transparent chairs that you sit in the Beta 1 base. Anyway.
Chris, before we move on
oxygen tank with no light.
I do have one more thing to ask about this in general. So, just for the peanut gallery.
Is it about this?
Hit me in the head with this thing. No. So, I have 3D printed and fabricated a Lego hammer.
Is that your Lego mallet?
And I think we talked about this with in Ryan, and that the fact that they use the rubber mallets all the time for building things to save your carpal tunnel and your wrist. So, what do you guys think? Should I try and do this in some sort of rubber, or should I just try and do it in foam, or should I just try and do it in resin? What do you guys think? If you were to go ahead and get one, what would you want? What are your thoughts?
But would it be a functional one or just for show?
No, well, that's just it. I mean, if I did it in rubber, I mean, I've looked at some things. I'd have to put a rod in it to give it a little more, some rigidness in the handle wise. But the end would certainly be functional for hammering down bricks, possibly. If it was foam, I'm thinking foam just because little kids, loving to bash each other. But
well, you have the 4+ version, and then you have the 8 to 16 versions.
maybe I'm going to have to do multiple. I can do one mold, but I'll do multiple prints and see how it works. So I think that's going to be my next non-Lego-y project that I work on.
I think for the 4-year-old one, you should make the back of it carbon steel and razor sharp.
That'll definitely get I'll definitely get a call from not just Lego's lawyers, but probably several others.
I love it. Oh, welcome to the chat, Umbra Manus in the chat. Richard, I mentioned before, and thank you guys for joining us and everything. So I think we've been around the room. I think everybody has shared what's going on in their Lego room, in their Lego world. The thing we were going to talk about tonight is that I don't know if you have been like me. You go on Flickr, which many of us older folks do. We don't have much from the younger contention on tonight. Brian definitely has a social life, so he's doing something actually, with somebody. Anyway, he's out of the house doing something amazing, not stuck in his basement. Anyway, but for the most of us, I'm sure we have all gone on to Flickr or to another site and seen this really amazing kind of thing being built. And then as we get exploring it, like, oh man, that's not real. That's a render and everything. So, I mean, all opinions are open. We all have their opinion on it. I guess the discussion is, do you consider a finalized render that somebody presents as a mock, a real mock, or do you kind of hold it in derision? Or are you like, oh, that's nice, I'm glad you worked hard on that, but no thank you, or what? I mean, so let's we can go around and everything. Like that, we do not want to tell anybody how to do their hobby, okay? And the opinions of all people on this chat, we do not intend this to make you feel bad about your life choices. However, it would be interesting just to hear your opinions on renders, on whether they are something important, they are something of value, or you're just like, ban that person. Anyway, so I'll just throw it out to the floor. You guys have at it. What do you think?
I'm afraid I'm going to jump over.
Do we raise our hands, or how's this work?
Just start talking loud.
So I've voiced my displeasure in the past. But here's my thing: the renders are beautiful. Some of them. I'm a building guy, and so there are some people who shall remain nameless who regularly post renders of beautiful looking buildings. And I zoom in and look at it, and I'm like, they don't make that part in that color. They don't make that part in that color. They don't make that part in that color. So, I mean, they're beautiful, but they're sometimes they're fantasy buildings. You can't actually build them in those colors. The other thing about them is that they may not hold together because the connection points may be one stud, or they're just relying on gravity, which.
Saw that coming. Saw that coming.
Yeah.
Where's Carter Baldwin?
So, I mean, here's what I say about the digital renders. They're beautiful Lego art. They're a rendering of a picture of Lego bricks, hypothetically in colors that may or may not exist, and they're gorgeous. And I've tried to recreate a couple of renders and gotten really frustrated because things didn't fit together, or they didn't make the parts in that color. But I'll get up the soapbox. Someone else step on the soapbox.
Well, I think there's one thing that I mean, like I agree with actually all that, because like for me, who've always built for playability, that just doesn't really go with renders, because you know, you try to make it do something, you try to swoosh it, and suddenly, you know, it's just a pile on the floor beside the other pile that the dog made. So that's it. Exactly. We're back to wet spaghetti. Dana, sorry, man. You're gonna take it right on the face the whole show.
Okay. This is payback for my spaceman with red hand or blue hand.
You can put that on your own show, pal, not on mine.
But that being said, and this was brought up years back, back when there used to be a lot of contests floating around the different forums, right? And a lot of people would say, you know, like, oh, this is real building only, or they would do a subsection category for renders. You know, they didn't want to mix and match. And during the discussion, someone brought it up. They said, okay, said, we understand why. I said, however, keep in mind that the one big thing that renders will do in building electronically is it makes it very affordable for maybe the kid who cannot afford the bricks, right? And that's really cool, because, like, you know, we all know it's expensive. You know, we're all been fortunate enough to be blessed to have the means to you know, to dive into the crack bomb. But I mean, for them, for a lot of kids, that's not the case. So that's what I think is the coolest part about it, is that it makes it accessible to anybody who even has some antiquated piece of garbage laptop like mine. So that's pretty good.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's right.
And
Well, it gives them something to look forward to also.
What was that, Pete?
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Pete's being very Tron tonight.
Oh, I was going to say, it gives them something to look forward to.
Maybe sort of max headroom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see what you're saying is it gives the kid who can build
am I not
something
coming
a
through?
dream that he
Can you hear me
look
now?
forward to.
Should I lean closer?
Yeah,
You know, when they get more established and can
That's
get the
perfect.
bricks, they can, you know, pick them up and then go back to their old renders and build them in the brick.
That's true. I never thought about that. You know, usually when I was a kid, I would doodle something and keep it, you know, or
Right.
you file it away in your head, and having that render gives you some idea as a starting point. That's a fair point, and everything. But when it comes to, like you said, in a contest or something like that, to say, here is my finished mock, is that fair? Apples to apples contest? Do you think?
Absolutely not. It's
No.
not fair, because I mean, as you saw with, you know, go ahead and flash it now. Here, I'm giving you the go ahead. Go ahead and flash it here. So in Designer, those legs were you know, they held up. They looked great,
These legs?
and they actually were functional. They just didn't, gravity got in the way and just, you know, crushed it down to the floor like a sad little puppy.
Curse you, gravity.
Mistress of that.
Although you can say it was built for space, because, you know, there's a microgravity in
A
space.
lesser gravity. Now, I will say, and I'm a huge advocate of Studio, above and beyond what Lego Digital Designer was. I mean, it is a great tool, and again, I look at it as a tool, because it does give you the ability to have every part available in every color, whether it exists or not, to play with and to build something. And I've done a lot of digital work, and I've done a lot of things and I've made in it, and I maybe once or twice out of all the digital designs I've built, when I've made them physically, did they come out exactly the way that I built them digitally. By the time I went to the physical build, I realized, oh, this isn't going to work. There's a stud. This is too weak a connection. I need to add more to this, or, you know, usually it was, oh, I thought I had a bunch of these parts. I need to replace them with something else, or this just doesn't function right, and you turn around and change it. So it's a great tool as a starting point to get to a final product. And a lot of times for me, it's, I'll build it digitally just because I know I don't have the parts, so I can get a laundry list to go on Bricklink and find the pieces that I need to build that mock. But I will never call one of my digital mocks a final creation or say, hey, I'm really proud of this until I can physically build it.
Yeah.
And I see so many people who build digitally and they'll be like, oh, well, look what I did. And this is 10 times better than anybody else who's building physically. And I'm like, it doesn't mean anything to me until you take the time and the expense to physically build that set.
No, I don't. I don't agree about the expense part. I think that's kind of gatekeeping a little bit, right? Like we're trying to
elitist. We're elitists.
A little bit.
We knew that was going to come. We knew that was going to come.
And so here's something that you guys are kind of that we're kind of ignoring is that the technology right now for doing renders is such that pretty much we can be fooled.
Yeah.
Oh,
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, I've
Easily
had ones where I've clicked on ones where it comes up. I'm like, this is a really oh, it's a render.
Yeah, and Mark, you're even in graphic design. I mean, you have an eye for it, and that sort of thing. So imagine just regular
once
people.
The things are shrunk a little bit, and you lose the pixelated edges on stuff. Sometimes it can be hard to tell. But another thing I've run into though was that someone did it was sort of like a space battleship looking thing, and I thought it looked really cool. And so I clicked follow on Flickr, and then I started looking at their model, and they had a Google SketchUp link to say, oh, look at how I built it. And I'm like, oh, neat. So I clicked that, and I was looking at it and turning it, and I did a fly through. And when I looked inside, I realized there were these side panels that were designed into the space battleship, and they were not connected to anything. So I closed SketchUp, and I unfollowed them, and I closed the window. Because it's like, if you're going to lie about how you've built the thing, I don't want to see it. Just to me, that's something that's like, I can appreciate something that's built if it's built. But if you're going to float pieces in space and they're not attached to anything, I can't, I don't know what to do with that. That's kind of a, like, sure.
Yeah.
Can I share something? I see both sides. What drives me crazy is, especially when you go back to the Lego ideas, people are submitting ideas. Hold on a second. The screen sharing is, let me pop this up. Move to new windows. I'm sorry, I am a
Were you trying to pull this up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to pull up. Exactly.
I love you, man. I really do. But
I know.
Never share anything with me. I am not complicit. This one here and that one in the corner below you also were all about it. They're like, we should do that. So
I will fully confess that I encourage this. No, but let me say this, Dana. It's a freaking great picture.
Ryan, are you saying we're beating a dead horse? Is that what you're telling me about here?
That's it.
No,
that's just something
never.
that's
I'm
examined.
just
There
we
sharing
go.
a piece of my collection I just found.
It wouldn't be nearly as funny if it weren't. It wouldn't be nearly as funny if it weren't an awesome picture.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. It cracks me up, honestly. It makes the poor thing's taking a nap. I mean, it's just.
Hey, Chris, can you share that?
Oh, sure. I'm not going to hit the button on Dana's thing. All right, there it is.
So, this is on Lego Ideas. I don't know how many votes it has. I think it's a lot. It's like Avatar, not Last Airbender Avatar, the other Avatar.
Boo.
I mean, you look at some of these pieces, and yes, this build is gorgeous, but then you start looking at it, it's like, I can't build this right now. Heck, I don't. It's just, it's to me, it's a huge disappointment. Like, this looks cool, but I don't think Lego's going to invest on making all these new elements. And you have translucent neon whips. I mean, come on, translucent neon whips, really? But this is in Lego Ideas. I mean,
How that would work.
hold on a second. Let me see. It's only got 3,000 supporters, but still, 3,000 support in a ton of parts that do not exist and probably will never exist.
I understand. And Trans Neon Whips, was that Gil's nickname in high school? I think so. So
That's what the tattoo says, man.
yeah. So yeah.
Close stuff like that. And you're like, man, that's really cool. And then you look closer and you're like, can't build it.
Well, I love the floating in air, glowy grappling hooks that were there in floating in the air. That's nigh on to impossible too. So, but yeah, I mean, although if that makes it, I'm sure the designer will then do compromise on that and everything.
But to me, that was the most egregious thing I've seen lately. And again, that's on Lego Ideas, and it's made it through at least a Lego saying, okay, you can post it, and it's like, come on, there has to be some. Because the whip, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whip's probably a different type of plastic than the translucent hard ABS that's used for the translucent parts. So,
and if you want to recreate that today, I think your only choices in whips are green and black,
and brown.
And brown. It would not look good.
No, that's true. And if they made it out of harder plastic, then you would have animal cruelty issues when it comes to the minifig using it in actuality with the Lego animals and everything. No, I get that. So, all right. So we kind of talked about the negatives. Are there positive? I mean, we talk about some positives too. If you think about it, the Lego movie itself was a render. Okay. I don't know how much they paid close attention to Lego physics when it came to building things and all that kind of stuff when they rendered that out. I don't know, Ryan, if you know any more about that or not. I mean, I know it was rendered. It was rendered with reality in mind. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't work on the animation or anything, but
Right.
I can say that for the most part, they tried to follow the rules. In some cases, they followed like stop motion rules, and detached arms from bodies and did things that they wouldn't necessarily do. But the figures didn't move like they do in the Lego video games. They move like figures whose limbs have been taken off, and somebody stop motion animating the framework out of it. But yeah, for the most part, if you watch it pretty closely, they pretty much adhere to Lego physics.
Right. And and then the waves and the water stuff that was pretty Lego-y too, which was really cool. And an interesting shift that they used in the Batman movie, regular water. But anyway,
And real plants in the
Ryan,
Ninjago movie.
Ryan, is that your band name, Lego Physics?
Yeah, it's my one man.
What were you going to say, Gil?
Do you know where I have seen it, where people use it sort of as an essential tool? And those are the guys who do the giant train late layouts. And the reason for why they use it is because, as you know, like they're outside of like the massive castle builders, they're probably the most brick hungry subsection of Lego. So they need to build it digitally first, so they can try to plan some of the substructure to how to build like a mountain, with all the stuff that goes through it. And then also to figure out what they need to order as bulk bricks in order to actually make that happen. So that's sometimes when I think of that, I think about like, what Ryan would be doing for like a massive Legoland thing. Like, I know you guys, you have like this unending bin of bricks you've stripped down and roll in, which is really disturbing, but that's what you do. But for someone who doesn't have access to that, you need to know what you need to complete the layout. So I guess as not so much as a finished product, but as like a prep tool for those guys, it has to be really valuable.
Oh, and totally. And that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Is it's a great place to start. It's a good tool to get an idea of where you're going with it. But when somebody is real proud of something, but they haven't taken the time, and I guess by saying that you didn't have the parts was a little over the top. But in my aspect, I built a ship, and I knew that I didn't have the parts for it. But this was the way for me to figure out what parts I needed, so that I could build it physically, as opposed to just building it digitally and saying, "I built it digitally, I'm done. That's my mock," and walking away.
Right.
I still it while it's great and Nathan, you're right. The rendering qualities is amazing. I mean, when Lego Digital Designer was out there and you had to export it and import it into POV and do all this sort of monkeying around and LDraw, it was kind of like, it's 2010. Why am I doing it like this? Where Studio, it's like it's just like the second coming. I mean, this was a mind-bending changer, and all you got to do is click model, render, and boom, you have this amazing photorealistic render of your object that you created. It is very, very tantalizing and enjoyable to see something that you built digitally in these clunky little pieces now look like this shiny, great product that could come rolling out of the Lego factory and be packaged in the box. It's very addictive. It's very addictive.
The rendering quality is fantastic nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Hey, can I show you just a quick screenshot? You want to see something cool?
Show us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hit the button. It's
Where?
actually, I am. There it is.
Yeah,
There it is. There it is. There it
Look
is.
at that.
Oh, there it is.
That's a good one.
Well, so this was one that I made digitally,
Yep.
and then I turned around and built it physically. Which, if you want to then show, so granted, I changed some colors along the way, and I had figured out how to make the jets rotate and everything like that. But again, the digital was the starting point, not the ending point. And so it's a great tool, and it looks sexy in the digital. It does. It's very, very enticing to play with it that way. And you have the ability to, if you wanted to make it where it's floating or do other weird things or change it up so that you have the ability to manipulate things, move the jets around. And the fact that they put the Lego name on top of the studs, it looks like a product that came right out of Lego.
Right.
And don't want to forget the fact that Stud.io is now owned by Lego. Lego is, Lego had Lego Digital Designer. That was their program, and they dropped support on it, and they bought Bricklink, and that came with Stud.io as well. So so that is Lego owned as well. Is there copyright issues if you use Stud.io? Do you own it, or do they own the rights?
They dropped public support for it.
What was that, Pete?
Or was it Ryan?
Or is it Ryan?
I think it was right.
I said Lego
What was
Digital
that?
Designer was hot garbage.
I said they dropped support for the public one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. That's true.
And actually,
You know
I think
what's?
about
Do you know the other thing?
About 6 months before Lego bought Bricklink, there was a survey in the Lego Ambassador Network about they sent out, and we sent out to the lug members asking, and some of the questions were about digital design software and what do you use and how often do you use it. And I wonder if that information was a precursor for them buying Bricklink and stopping support on Lego Digital Designer, because here's a company who's already been doing more work for a public product. Let's just buy them.
Possibly, yeah.
There was a rumor that, I mean, obviously this is worth a rumor. What is what it is, but a rumor that was one of the main draws to Bricklink to Lego was we put all this money into our Lego Digital Designer, and these guys have done a better job, and let's go ahead and grab that and everything. So that's, I don't know if that's for real or not, but it seems like it was definitely a bonus to buying it out. So
absolutely.
So anyway,
Coming back
I think
to
there's also like a potential question too, and I mean this came up years and years in PAC, is that since Dana, when you built that digitally, you're building from the perspective and from the knowledge and experience of the builder, right?
Correct.
So when you're putting the pieces together, you sort of like intuitively know that this will create a structure that'll support this, and this will do this. Now, the big question used to be at one point is that, can you have someone who starts out building digitally and yet still sort of has that, sense of what will work, right? Can they build something if they've never really touched the bricks? Can they then progress to someone who can physically build a model? So you're basically
got to be a huge learning curve there, because you don't get the sense of physics and gravity, or if we all love Chris's the Giddens Gear one stud connections. You can do those in the studio all day long, or you can put pieces together and then yank out a piece out from underneath it that's not supporting it anymore, but yet the digital looks like it's supported. So I think if you got used to that freedom of power, and then change to building physically, I think people would get frustrated. Actually, if you were used to building digital and then switch to building physical, I think there would be that level of frustration because it now didn't do what you expected it to do, because that's what it that's what it did digitally for you.
Coming back to the render for a second. Increasingly, when I see the digital renders, part of my brain goes, "Where's the shadow?" Because it has that shiny look to it, and it doesn't look real to me. I mean, I look. That's the biggest thing I noticed is, if it was sitting on my table, it would not look like that because the light is uniform. It gets this beautiful reflection. There's no shadows.
Well, there are shadows. You can turn them on or off.
Okay.
And it also depends on, and again, it's a tool. If you don't know how to use the tool, you're going to get mediocre results. So, if you don't play with the settings and know what you're doing, it's going to look less realistic. I would like to publicly thank the Peanut Gallery for standing behind me in my moment of despair that Chris is making fun of.
Check this render out, you guys.
Group hug.
Woo!
So is that a render?
That is.
That's crazy.
So that's your shadow.
I'm telling you, like, it's a moot point. All of this discussion will be. It's like when Christopher Nolan and Batman flipped a truck end over end for real, and now they're, you can tell it's real. And I think that, like, a lot of modern CG in movies, if it's done really well, you don't even notice that it's CG. And we're coming to that point in Lego, and we may have to just accept it, honestly.
Well, I don't think it's a question of accepting it. I think we all accept the concept.
Oh, yeah.
And we all agree that it looks fantastic, and you're going to get that beautiful looking piece. But to Mark's point, he saw a ship that was just, amazing, and was, messing with his mind, and was just like, wow, this is fantastic. And then went and looked at it digitally and realized, oh,
I kicked him. I didn't mean to. Hang on, wait. You got to rejoin.
Hey,
I was trying to get rid of the icon. They were like, you got to come back.
Oh, no.
I thought it was kicking the screen share that was going on in the bottom down there. You got to come back. Where's he at? He's probably mad at me. There he is. My bad, man.
Oh, no. I don't think it was you. I got dropped completely from StreamYard. I had to open up a new tab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do that at all.
What I was saying is that, if you can't build it, it's just a digital art, which is great. And I love digital art. I'm all about animation. I think it's all fantastic, but I don't call it a Lego creation. I call it art.
Well, the specific example that I was bringing up was one that it was just sheer laziness, because the thing looked like it could have been attached with bricks if the person building it had really tried. And instead of actually trying to put the structure in there and build it, they just sort of floated things in space where they figured, oh, you're not going to see it, so I'm just going to float it there instead. And that, to me, that just kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. And I was just like,
Oh, no, absolutely.
Get off my porch.
Yeah, you wave your old man cane and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So old man yells at cloud.
So yeah, there's total positives and negatives to the whole thing and everything. And honestly, I can't imagine if my son is sitting here in 30 years doing like this, talking to Lego friends. Well, they'll be talking about digital renders, 3D prints of bricks, 3D prints of digital renders, and all this other kind of technology that who knows will be available. Holograms by the time
my son's gonna build something digitally on his iPad and push a button, and it's gonna come out of the 3D printer in 10 minutes, and you'll be like, "Look what I built, Dad!" And I'll be like,
"It took me 7 days of
It took me a week to do that."
Well, I tell you, I
Hey.
tell you what it'll be in the future.
What happened to the
It'll be
Thundercats?
AI assistants.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
The clicking.
You'll have a program. Somebody will whip up something and it'll help you, brick things out.
Would you like to put this brick here, sir? I
They'll
mean,
be
the
like,
clickings will come
"Did you
out,
make this?"
and every time. But yeah, so I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in those number of years. Oh yeah, the old gray man. Yeah, the old gray man clicky. What are you kids doing? So yeah,
So one thing about the future or an even present, and Chris, I know I mentioned this to you in the past with Jake, is that he sometimes likes to build sets just because he wants to see how the designer did something, and I agree with that. I often will buy a set because I'm like, this isn't a set I would normally buy, but I really want to build this set because it just looks cool. And sometimes there might be a set like I'm thinking, well, I might never use the pieces for this, or because I'll never use the pieces. But even if you wanted to just build the set to see how they did it, doing it digitally is the way to do it. You can, I mean, Lego typically releases the instructions a month or so before they even have the sets on the market. Download the instructions, build the set digitally, enjoy it, choose to buy it or not. It's up to you.
Yeah, that's true. Now, and one of the concepts that I think Lego fumbled, honestly, on was that the original Lego Digital Designer was made so that you could build it and then order the parts, and you could download the instructions, and you would get the parts for your own Lego set. Obviously, if when you built it in the real world, it didn't work, that might be a little frustrating for kids and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it was an incredible concept. They just fumbled on the implementation of it, I think. That came along with Mark and I and our set time too and all that kind of jazz. So do you think that Lego might do that with the new Stud.io? And would you do that?
Well, I mean, if you think about the fact that, Bricklink already had that capability.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could take an LDF file or an IO file and create a want list out of it, and then do easy buy, and bloop, there you go. Yeah. I think if Lego was to add a feature into it that says restrict me to only available parts, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I would do it.
Available parts that are available to order on Bricks and Pieces or Pick a Brick or whatever you want to do, that would be awesome. And I think that would be, a great way to merge that whole thing.
Pick a Brick.
Well, if I can sit down and build Lego in my lazy boy rather than this really cruddy chair that I have here at my desk at the Lego room, I might actually opt for that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a couple sites too where they sort of have like a kind of like a dumbed down version of that, where you can submit a digital file. I would call like an LDD file, but whatever it is now, right? And then they will actually pick the parts for you and mail them to you. It's a crazy cost. Like it's like 3 times the cost. But they will do that too. And then they have a catalog of stuff of sets where you can choose, and then they'll do the same thing. So if they were to do that on a large scale, yeah, I mean, that would be kind of cool.
That's true. Brom is correct. I don't believe that Lego they don't do physical bricks on their covers anymore. I do not believe, or at least they mix it in there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Hey, I will say somewhere that PIO is helpful. For her Christmas party last year, we built a really simple snowman. And what was it, a penguin?
Yeah. Pretty easy to make instructions.
And we were able to print out instructions so that all the kids, we made 10 of each set, and we had like 3 or 4, and we could send out the PDF to the parents of instructions. So in that case, it's really nice.
Yeah, no, I can see the applications for that. And I think Lego they could probably find some profitability there if they had you. So the build it, you order it kind of thing. I mean, I'd be all for it.
They used to have that with LDD, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing was that LDD had a much more streamlined instruction builder for whatever logic they had involved in it, that you clicked a button and it would break it out, basically starting from building from the bottom up, as what most instructions are. I will say that if you haven't tried building instructions in Studio, you need to think about making how you're building it when you're doing it to make it into steps. Otherwise, you basically got to go back and almost rebuild the whole thing again to make the instructions work. So,
I'm like the king of
I think it's easier almost to rebuild the model if you're changing it around a whole bunch to figure it out. Once you finish it, rebuild it and do it with instructions in
Here,
mind.
you can be the guest.
No, I'm
We'll
good.
swap out. Hi, everybody.
Is that the newly minted 40-year-old Brian behind you?
Yeah,
How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
been good.
Good. You're good.
They've come down to tell me it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian, can you hear your joints creaking yet?
No, why's that?
Oh, you will. Don't worry.
I will.
It's
Oh yeah. Good.
You'll hurt yourself.
It's coming.
That's right. I've been sore for 3 days after hurting myself, apparently sleeping. So anyway, all right. Well, if we don't get to say, y'all have a good night. Good night, sweetheart.
Say goodnight.
Good night.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Woo. Night.
And I need Matthew to stop groping my logo over there, please. Anyway.
I know. I kind of,
know
you know
what
what
that
it
means.
looks like? You know what it looks like? They're doing those COVID press thing, and there's like the sign language guy in the corner. That's Matthew's. I'm like, is he telling me to evacuate? Like, what's going on?
That's right. I tell you what, the guy doing that in Georgia is the best one ever. If you've ever seen the guy doing the sign language in Georgia, cool bald-headed guy with a big white beard, and he is just nailing it. He is so cool. So great. Anyway, so we've lost a couple. Somebody dropped out.
I'm offended by those people.
What'd you say, Pete?
I said I'm offended by those people, but
All right, that's random. All right, so anyway, so we're over an hour in here. We're gonna lock this down. So any last words or thoughts? What would it take? Here's the last thing. What would it take for rendering software stud.io to make you more apt to use it? What would they need to implement to make it more something you would be more interested in? Or is there anything that would make it more interesting to you?
I think that my new request that I might actually submit is that I want a button that locks me down to only building in parts that only exist within the last 2 or 3 years, or saying omit pieces that are a year or newer, so that I'm not trying to add pieces that have only come out in a $300 set and there's no way I can use it. So I want to be able to limit my inventory to what's really logical to build with physically.
Omit parts that are over $3 a piece.
Yeah, exactly. Because I built something, I forget which ship it was or whatever I was doing, and if you go to the model info in Studio, it'll tell you what the estimated price is if you were to go out and find all those pieces, because it's going off of the average brick price. Right. And it was like $1,000 for something that was like 100 pieces. And I was like, whoa, what? Because I was adding in a brick that only came in one set and you only got 2 and I needed like 30 of them. And I was like, yeah, scratch that design.
Wouldn't you could also have a problem the other way, though. You could have old space sets that had yellow hinges that only came in one set.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. That is completely the same. Well, no, it's the exact same thing. If it's a rare
the
part,
exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Get rid of it. I don't want to see it in my inventory or in my palette to build with, because that I think LDD did give you the option to turn on or off legacy parts that were no longer in production.
Yep.
So again, that would be a kind of a cool thing to be able to turn on and off.
Well, and with LDD, the version Mark and I got to do the sets, they gave us basically it was a kind of lockdown, tighter version, and it only had certain elements available. So, but in its implementation with LDD, you could go every part available, and they just showed up red, and you could put any color you wanted,
right?
Or you could go to basically what's currently available or whatever. But that was another thing in LDD when you were buying the parts, it was limited to the parts that you could buy. And that was a frustrating factor too, because you're like, oh, I know Lego makes these parts, but they're not available. So, and there was also people who abused the LDD thing where they would put 1,000 of one part that they wanted a copy of on a base plate and then delete the base plate and hit order. And so the instructions was nothing and then 100 of these pieces, but they were just filling up parts orders. But we do that with pieces, right? So,
I got to do a shout out to Gil real quick. That after the conversation last week, I needed 4 or 16 of a particular part for something I want to add on to. No, I ordered 50 of each just because I know I'm going to use them eventually. And ironically, it's the inverted corner 2x2 stud or 2x2 brick,
right?
In light bluish gray,
right?
They go for like $1 on Bricklink or more, and Bricks and Pieces finally has them, and I'm like, order, get as many as I can for right now because you need them. Yep,
exactly.
That little guy right there.
Yeah, I've ordered up a few of those on Bricks and Pieces too because they're hard to get.
Just one more thing, just about we want to make it easier.
Sure.
Like I don't know about for you guys. Like for me, whenever I've tried to build digitally before, keeping in mind that I'm old and useless, the interface. We
don't have to be reminded. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're to scroll down to see my shirt, it says it, right? But I mean, like whenever I'm clicking, like trying to get through, like click the part, the color that I want, like I find the process it's like herding cats, right? It's just so dull, and it's just on and on and on. But what I would love, and this is like pie in the sky stuff. You have your phone, your phone can identify a song. You can hold it up, it'll identify a barcode. You can even hold it, it'll identify whatever, right? For me, what would be amazing if you were to build something, take a picture of it, and then the software choose out the design for it. It won't know what the interior is, but at least it knows what the exterior is. So like a starting point, right? So that would be cool because then I could be the lazy guy that everybody knows that I am. Like that would be awesome. Because at least it gives me a starting point, right? So
and
that's fine.
Actually, to just go off on that, to take it into a more possible future, is that I want to be able to take a picture of part and find the part number.
Right.
That's what I was about to say. That would be great.
Give me that. Boom. I'm done.
Right.
I'm happy.
That would be cool. That would be great. All right.
Why is Pete doing his laundry?
Say, pull the top off.
You need the magnifying glass to see the part number on the piece.
Did you get that out of your sock? Is that what happened?
Now he's a detective.
He's like the great part is that he's quiet, so it's like the Marcel Marceau of the Lego show. I don't know.
So now we learned that Pete Morris has a sock near his computer, and I don't know what that means either. So
and a magnifying glass. You put those two pieces together,
or not, right?
Right. It keeps the lens from getting scratched up.
Sure, of course, that's what the kids are calling it nowadays. Anyway, with that revelation, we're going to tune out the show here. Y'all stay around, hang around for the after show.
Hang on. Is John Palmer in the chat?
Is he?
Who?
John Palmer's name just showed up in the chat.
No.
Oh wait, it hadn't showed up on the
John Palmer.
My
I didn't see
wait.
I see John. What's up,
John Palmer? If that's you, it takes StreamYard a few seconds
really
to get with the updates, and it's been kind of slow tonight. So, John Palmer, if you're here, I want you to. You need to send me an email to Fazoom. We will extend the show to have you on, dude.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but wait a minute. If he's going to come on, I got to run to the basement and bring up my Moonbase stuff so he can autograph it. So.
There it is. Fleebnork on the dead horse.
Show it again, Ryan. Fleebnork eating the dead horse.
nom nom nom.
Nom, 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 nom,
Chewing on
nom,
the
nom.
power cables.
My StreamYard over here apparently has not caught up to everybody over there. But John, fazoom@gmail.com, dude. Give me an email, and I'd love to have you on, man.
Yeah,
And then we promise to
that'd be
keep
a
the
blast.
fanboying to a minimum.
Yeah, that's right. All
Listen,
right.
Like, is it really
doesn't like
him?
doesn't like John have like a, let's say, isn't one of his eyes like it's all like retina or something? Like, remember back in the day, it's like he's like Betazoid or something. It's all it's like the reverse. It's like there's color on the inside and black on the inside. It's something weird. Something lets him see through time or something. I don't know.
I'm like, are you being serious right now?
No, I'm being serious. There's something like, some genetic quirk.
Something
Maybe
wrong
that's
with
It's
you.
like he's a,
Time.
it's like he's a mix between David Bowie and a husky.
I was just going to say David Bowie.
Would that be a busky? Is that...
What, those guys that juggle in the street?
That ain't right. That ain't right.
I don't. That's weird. My StreamYard, what I'm monitoring the chat over here on StreamYard, nobody else has come up yet. So,
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't see him on either. I think
Oh,
Ryan's messing with you.
although I do see it, I
No.
see it on here. So he must be somehow hiding from me. Palmer, if that's you, yeah, he says, sure, man. Be in touch, man. Send me an email and everything. I'd link you right now so you can come on the chat if you send me an email right now.
Call today.
You call today and we can get
That's
you
right.
Did the
on.
email move that fast?
I don't know.
You just pay shipping and handling.
Chatter,
If he's still in Oklahoma, his email may not be working that fast.
Well, I mean, even if he's not able to get on today, I keep making hints that we need to do a Moonbase episode, and I think that would be the perfect time to do it. So
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
So, it's really odd. So all the chat apparently it's been glitching on me. So today I've noticed. So not all the chat is coming up because that's the first time I've seen Brick Frenzy come. Oh wait, hi! There's a Palmer signing. Woo! Woo! Here you go, John Palmer. This is for you, buddy. Right here.
Wow.
Right there.
Wow.
All the John Palmer stuff.
The M-Wing.
John Palmer stuff.
John Palmer stuff.
Oh, thanks. I got my
It's all
haircut.
packed away still.
John Palmer stuff.
I'm holding up a pen
Anyway.
that John has never seen.
I'm just happy to know you are still in existence, man. So send me an email, John. I'd love to catch up with you. We'd love to have you on. Maybe even do a talk about the moon base and whatever that kid was that we sent to keep giving us something to drink so he'd stop annoying us when we were meeting that day. So. All right. Well, that's an exciting end to our day, John Palmer. We're glad that you are here, and yeah, get in touch. I'll get in touch with you, man. I'd love to have you come hang out with us. All right. We're going to sign off. We'll be chatting offline after this and everything. Thank you guys for coming. Any last words or thoughts or ideas or, mock fails that you want to share with anybody? Just let me know.
There we go.
All right. That's all love, man. It's
oh
been a
yeah,
lot.
I know. I guess maybe the parting words for the day are: don't forget to feed your clicky.
There we go. And whatever that means. Good night, everybody. We're glad you guys have been viewing with us. Thanks. Y'all have a great day.